Hello everybody, welcome to my latest video. This video is going to be talking about what types of content I'm going to have on the channel. Now, the primary focus of this channel is roleplay games, as the title DICE in the Dice and Dual Senses alludes to. Obviously, the Dual Senses is the reference to the fact I cover PlayStation games above and beyond anything else. I don't have a capture card in my laptop, so I can't do PC gaming captures, and the Xbox capture system is so terrible it allows you to capture 30 seconds, so I do not use that either. There are some games I would like to cover on my Xbox, but it's just not going to happen. With that in mind, roleplay games being the primary focus, one thing that I will say is some of the games I'm going to cover might not appear to be roleplay games on the face of it. Ark, as on screen at the moment, is one of them, but my interpretation and my opinion, and bearing in mind it's my channel, is that if it has a skill system, if it has loot, and if it has leveling up of a character, to me that makes it a roleplay game. I will also be covering a lot of Warhammer games. Those Warhammer roleplay games will include things like Chaos Gate, which is a tactical game, but again, it does have those roleplay elements. So you upgrade individual characters, each character has their own loadouts, they have their own skills. So to me, it's very much based in the roleplay genre. Yes, it is a tactical game, you could call it a shooter, but I suppose you could say that games like Chaos Gate are closer to what you would consider the traditional Warhammer experience than anything else. And as I say, to my mind, Warhammer, especially Warhammer 40k and Old World and all of those games, are very, very close to what I would consider to be a roleplay game. And indeed, they did get me into roleplay in the first place. Because of that, I do want to cover Warhammer 40k games and Old World and Age of Sigmar to a certain degree, but I do want to cover those on the channels because I really do enjoy them, and even though I have roleplay as my primary focus, I do consider these to be roleplay, so to my mind that just is a match made in heaven. I think there are other types of Warhammer roleplay games, and those games include games like Rogue Trader, which is a computer roleplay game, or CRPG. Now this is what you would consider to be a true tabletop story-driven RPG. A lot of people aren't into them. There are a lot of people who are, and I am going to be covering some of these types of games. Now, there have been quite a few that have come out recently, with the likes of Pathfinder Kingmaker. You've got Baldur's Gate 3, which is a very similar game to Rogue Trader, although it does have much better production values. Games of that nature will feature on this channel. I'm not going to do huge amounts of games on them or videos on them because they are very, very involved, and to be honest, they're not overly fun to watch. But at the same time, I will be covering my opinions on them and reviews for them. Other types of games that I'll be covering are looter shooters. Again, they have abilities. Again, you level up your character and they have loot. So although they are predominantly shooting, they also do have RPG elements. And again, it's a game genre that I really do like covering. There are numerous ones out there, and no doubt there's going to be more coming out in the future. So we can expect to see more of these. I do tend to like doing retrospective looks at games as well, so after they've been out for a number of years, I will go back and look at the game, how it's doing. I have, even on my old channel, covered games like Anthem years after they've stopped being supported, just to see what the landscape and what the game is like, to see if it's worth picking up, if it's very cheap. So that sort of thing will be featuring. But again, because it's got the roleplay elements and loot and skills and character progression, all of those sorts of things are what I like to see in my games. I like to play in my games, and I think make good videos. With these sorts of things, it also allowed you to do build guides, which I have covered on my other channel quite heavily, especially for Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr, which, although I don't cover anymore, I did for approximately 5 years and did lots of videos on builds, etc. So all of those sorts of things do, in my opinion, make good content, and I am going to continue to do those sorts of things. So if you're interested in that, then carry on watching. Now, another type of genre that I am going to be covering is going to be MMOs. The main one that I have played previously is Elder Scrolls Online, which is what the game on screen is at the moment. There are mixed feelings on the Elder Scrolls Online, especially from the Elder Scrolls basically fans. So if people have been used to the Elder Scrolls, which again I will be covering just the base games if they do make it to PlayStation, so Elder Scrolls 6 being the next one that I'm really looking forward to, and if it does come to PlayStation, you better believe it will be on the channel. But MMOs themselves don't have the same sort of quality level for graphics that you find in normal roleplay games, because they are much bigger. They have to have netcode built into them and various other things which take a lot of computing power. So they also have to have a much bigger world, because you have to be able to go everywhere and interact with other people while you're doing so. That just gives them a different feel, and I think there's a lot of people who don't like that. And originally the Elder Scrolls Online did get pretty harshly treated because it wasn't Skyrim Online. I think it's made a comeback, and I would say it's a pretty big MMO these days. Doesn't mean it's going to be the only MMO I cover. Any MMO that shows up on the PlayStation system, I will be covering in one way or another. So you can at least expect a couple of videos, one at a bare minimum, on MMOs that do show up. Now, I don't need to say much more on the situation, but MMOs predominantly started out as RPG MMO, or MMORPG as they were originally called. There have been shooter MMOs these days that are not loot-based shooters, literally just first-person shooters, but that's not where the genre started, and it does have its grounding solely in the RPG sector. And of course, love it or hate it, how can I do a channel on RPGs without covering the daddy of the ARPG, the Diablo games? Now, what can I say? The amount of divided opinion on Diablo 4 is insane. I don't mind it. I think it's pretty good. I have found the latest season poor in comparison to the others, and I've hardly played it at all, to be fair. But that's not just because of Diablo itself, it's also because Ark Survival Ascended came out, and I have been literally drowning myself in that game. But at the same time, I think there are things that they need to improve for the next season of Diablo. I will be covering that season, so I will show you what the season's all about. I will be making a character, and there will be some videos on it. Now, if you're into Diablo, like Diablo 3 or Diablo 2, but haven't so far got into Diablo 4, it might be worth watching my videos on the seasons, so we can then see whether it's worth jumping back into before you either buy the game or re-download it, reinstall it onto your console. I try and do videos, well, I do one video a week basically, but if there's a burning desire, I will do another one kind of mid-rotation. So if a season launched on a Friday, for instance, I might think about putting a video out on the Sunday or the Saturday as well, just to cover off what the season is like. But in general, it's going to be a Wednesday that my videos get uploaded. ARPGs, definitely a core of the channel. I will be looking at all of the ARPGs that come out on the PlayStation system. I was hoping that we were going to get Last Epoch, because I have played a little bit on PC on that, and it does have potential. I know a lot of people are saying it's now the best ARPG out there, and it would be very nice for me to be able to see that. So we will see. But there we go. That's basically what this channel is going to be looking into. So if you're interested in that, please make sure you do click the like button. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow this new channel, so any subscription is really helpful. Follow me on Patreon if you can. Search for Dice and Dual Senses, and share the video with all your friends. Let's get this out there. Well, thanks very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. You'll take care. Bye for now.